Hi, this is Brass Check, and we're recording this April 28th, 2021. And I want to point out a new form of internet censorship. We were on the receiving end of some of the earliest internet censorship in 2008. Companies like Comcast and Yahoo and Earthlink just stopped delivering email to our subscribers. That was fun, and we had to sort that out. And then, of course, people are having their Facebook groups erased. We've documented that quite a bit. My personal Twitter channel has been frozen indefinitely. I cannot post to it, and they will not respond to inquiries. So, a lot of thuggish censorship going on in the health and science realm. Really despicable. But it's getting better or worse, depending on how which hat you're looking at. So, as most longtime Brass Check listeners know, we produced a film called AIDS, Fauci's First Fraud. We released segments of it as early as May of 2020, and we released the whole thing, because it took a long time to finish, 1,000 hours plus, in August. And it was it's a film, and we'll put it below so those who haven't seen it can watch it, that shows the absolute direct point-by-point parallels between the fraud that Fauci and his friends ran to push the HIV equals AIDS scandal. They're using the same playbook. I mean, everything, the fake testing, the misattribution of death, just every button they can push, they invented back in the 80s, and they've been pushing it on COVID, and we made a film about it. And I'm happy to say that it's being now watched by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and people in his circle, and people are taking it very seriously indeed. It's a very important film. But here's my point. In order to make that film, we used YouTube, and we did research. And so I would put in various search terms. And in 2020, last spring and last summer, I was able to get useful search results. No more. I was trying to send some information to a fellow researcher, and I looked up Fauci smallpox and Fauci anthrax. And you no longer get anything when you search Fauci's name, or at least I'm not getting it. You might be getting a different result because they do reshuffle the cards from time to time. But what I found was that anytime I searched anything specific about Fauci, specific years, specific diseases that he's been promoting, disease frauds, we should say, the only thing that comes up is happy talk about Tony Fauci. So what I want to say is to Brass Check supporters and those who are not yet supporters but should become one, that film, as important as it is, as illuminating as it is about the situation that we're in today, would be impossible to make today. Okay? They have closed off one of the most important avenues for research that we had, which was YouTube, and the ability to do specific targeted searches for specific information and get specific historical references and archival material. Okay, when you watch AIDS, Fauci's First Fraud, HIV equals AIDS, Fauci's First Fraud, you'll see that I barely have any narration at all. I don't say a word. I just play their own words back to you. And any halfway sane or decent person who just listens to their own narrative will quickly see they're fraudsters. But now, there's no way to find that archival material. You can search for it on YouTube, you just won't get it. So it would be impossible for me or any other researcher to now use YouTube to search the archival historical record of Tony Fauci's previous operations. I don't know if they've disabled the search function for all of YouTube. I tend to doubt it, but they have absolutely, positively, at least from the computer I'm using, disabled any useful search functioning. So they are not only promoting false science, false medicine. They are not only silencing Nobel Prize winners and multi-decade senior professors at the world's greatest universities and doctors with decades and decades of clinical experience. They're not only doing that, they are now blocking people from doing their own homework and their own research. So I don't know how much more sinister this can get, but just be absolutely clear. Google is not your friend. Google is literally an enemy of humanity. Twitter should go in that category, and so should Facebook. These are sinister, depraved organizations. And, you know, we use them the same way we have to use the electric company, but they are not to be trusted. They are some of the most despicable corporations that have ever walked the earth. So that's the news. But we have all that archival material. We saved it. So they can play their little games. That horse is out of the barn as far as they're concerned. And of course, the film was made. If you haven't seen it, watch it and give it the time it needs. It's the complete narrative of the previous sinister fraud that Fauci and friends cooked up 40 years ago. In fact, the anniversary is coming up very soon. In fact, I should make a note to note it. The 40th anniversary of the beginning of the HIV equals AIDS fraud, which resulted, and this is a conservative estimate by a Harvard researcher, in the unnecessary death of at least 300,000 people. Let that sink in. 300,000 people died directly as a result of that fraud. And it's in the film, and we explain where that number came from. All right, that's Brass Check. Thanks to all supporters. You are the reason that we can do this. And if you are listening and not a supporter and you want to participate in something good that is fighting back, we are probably as good a place to send support as any. Thank you.